Hi. So I want to talk about what is the difference between self-care behavior and self-led self-care, and why is that even important? So self-care behavior is what you think of when you hear about self-care. Like, I need to exercise. Um, I need to drink, so many glasses of water. I need to go to bed earlier. I need to meditate. I need to do yoga. I need to, all these things. And, you know, these are what it's where it's coming from is from parts of us that have a very clear agenda of making sure that we are being good and taking care of ourselves and doing what we're supposed to do, and listening to the doctor, or listening to what our husbands, our wives, our partners, or significant others are telling us that we should be doing, or just some internal voice inside of us, right? And this is really different than self-led self-care. And so what is that? Well, one aspect of self-led self-care is that it's the meeting of these parts of us that have these desires, hopes, and wishes for self-care, and meeting them with the love and the compassion and the wisdom of the self. And so what does that mean, and what does that look like? Well, so there could be a part, for example, that thinks it's really important to exercise. And why is that so important to this part? When we ask it would be like, well, if we don't do this, the doctor said we could have some major problems. So there's some fear that's underneath that. And, and why is that so important? Is that there's a concern that the things that are really important in life aren't going to get done, and we're going to miss out, or something like that. And so the part can be very attached to needing to do this. And so much so, it can be like, driving to relax, which is like pushing to relax, which of course is not relaxing, pushing to exercise so that you can have less stress. It's like kind of, it's end up manifesting the very thing that it's seeking to avoid. And where self-led self-care comes into is, now what would happen if that part that really felt that strongly felt that it could trust your heart and trust the self, and that it felt internally that there was a sense that somebody really understood and really got that part, and why that was so important. And what can happen is the part that cares so much about that can start to soften and relax. And it's not that it's not important, it's that it doesn't need to push. Which, and if it's not pushing, then it's likely to less have less resistance inside, because when parts are pushing for what they want, it's just natural. There's going to be another part inside that's going to say, no, I don't want to. You want me to exercise more? I'm like, no, I don't want to. And so, of course, then that leads to conflict. But self-led self-care would really take both sides into consideration, and learning how to meet those parts with love, compassion, understanding, and wisdom, so that the parts that may resist it as well can be met. What can happen when we do this is conflict around self-care behaviors can decrease significantly. And, obviously, why that's important is it makes it easier to actually do things. Now, one other really big thing that I find important in the conversation around self-led self-care is that, people are often living their life, and it's structured in such a way where they don't feel like they can really do the things that their dreams, really what they dream or long to do. And so then they're in a box. And so then they have self-care behaviors that are trying to help maintain the box that they're in. And to me, one of the bigger questions from a self-led self-care perspective is, why are you here? Where do you find the most meaning and joy in your life? Where does your heart unfold? Where does your self energy unfold? Where do you find that your heart expands in what you're doing? Because those are things that are helpful for your system to move towards. Now, I understand there might be parts that have kept you from doing that. And that's kind of where it's important to support parts in looking at why they've been saying that there isn't space or time to do that. Because ultimately, if we can start moving toward more towards doing the things that we love, these unhealthy polarities between parts of us that like want to exercise and don't want to, the whole conversation around it can shift if we're looking more towards doing what we love. And it just, it's easier. It can be easier to like the whole orientation around exercise could shift. Like, oh, well, yeah, no, I want to exercise. And the energy might be more present because it's moving towards something, towards fulfilling a bigger vision for you. So I hope you found this helpful and feel free to comment or subscribe if you liked hearing about this. Thank you.